Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinson's. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Two quick updates today. Number one, I've started a Facebook page to keep track of what's going on in the channel. So if you want to keep track of updates on what's going on, please head over to Facebook and look for Life with Parkinson's. And number two, from my recent neurologist appointment, my medication increase is actually helping quite a bit. I'm not getting these awful on and off periods, these massive fluctuations during the day where I'm dropping way off. My energy level is better. I'm able to think a lot better. And would you believe I'm sleeping better at night? I'm sleeping about 8 hours per night now. Of the last 3 nights, one of them I slept 8 hours interrupted. It is amazing. And one last thing before we get started, please like this video if you find it helpful and interesting so it can spread to more people and help them as well. So today's topic is Parkinson's and motivation. It's something I'm a little nervous to talk about because it's something I struggle with on a regular basis. Like, how do you stay motivated? Like, how do you keep going when you know Parkinson's has a known outcome? It's something I see a lot on Facebook. Like, someone will post on a regular basis in one of the exercise groups I'm part of, and they'll be like, oh, I'm sitting here in the parking lot and I can't get out of my car. I just don't want to go in. And it's something I've done. I've sat there in the parking lot at stores and stuff and restaurants. It's like, I don't want to go in. I don't want to go in. My anxiety starts acting up and I just want to leave. But I have to force myself to get out of the car because I know if I drive home, I'm going to feel even worse. So today's question is kind of, how do we deal with that? And it's something very difficult to fight back against. Parkinson's comes with depression built in. So it's like automatically one of the symptoms. Like, it's something very hard to deal with. It feels like we're surrounded on every side. It can cause depression-like symptoms. Even if you're not upset, you get the symptoms of depression. So, and of course, fatigue is built into Parkinson's. So you've got depression and fatigue and anxiety all surrounding you on every side, building this wall around you. And it's like, oh my goodness, like, I am just going to lose my mind here in a minute because there are so many things against you automatically when you get Parkinson's. Then there's the side effects of the medication that aren't so nice sometimes. So you've got this big wall around you. You've got to stay motivated and keep going. Well, it's so easy just to lie down and give up and just admit defeat now. It would be so much easier if we can do that. And if that's the point you're at, I really strongly suggest you seek out medical professional advice, because for me, shortly after my diagnosis, my depression-like symptoms were so bad, I was starting to have memory problems. There was the one time I forgot how to put gas in the car. I couldn't remember how to work the pump. And I went to see my MDS, and I failed the standard memory test, and he got a little bit concerned, so he referred me to a dementia specialist who spent a good amount of time interviewing me, and was like, no, you're just experiencing depression-like symptoms. Depression-like symptoms can cause memory loss. He's like, don't worry, a simple antidepressant will clear up your problem. And lo and behold, it did. So if you're at the point where you don't think you can go on anymore, I strongly recommend you go see your neurologist or movement disorder specialist to see if there's something that can be done for you. One of the other problems with Parkinson's and motivation is that the Parkinson's alone can cause us to phase out of the workforce. So when we're used to going to work, like over the last 10, 20, whatever, 30 years, and that's suddenly just ripped away from you, it's like all of a sudden we have this big amount of time. Like, what are we going to do with our time? And now I'm only working like 1 day per week, like 5 or 6 hours, and I've got all these other days. It's like, what am I going to do with this time? And I gotta tell you, it gives you a lot of time to reflect on your life. Like, there were a lot of memories that I forgot about for years, but I've got all this time to think about, my mistakes, my regrets. Why do we always focus on those? But with all this extra time that the Parkinson's gives us, what do we do with it? If we focus on these thoughts for too long, we can just end up in a tailspin and end up in a depression vortex, I like to call it. And the other thing I want to mention is, when you come to this channel, I don't expect everyone to be talking about butterflies and roses and how wonderful Parkinson's is, and if we just exercise and take our medication, everything is going to be okay, because that's just not the reality of it. Life is just not like that. Life seems to deal us these overwhelming problems from time to time that we need to overcome. And I always like to say, let's take this journey together, because I don't feel that any of us is capable, I know I'm definitely not capable of overcoming these mountainous problems all on our own. Like, we need support, we need each other, and we need friends and family to help us get through these problems. That's just, I believe, how we're built. We're built as social creatures, and the Parkinson's seeks to isolate us from the rest of humanity and civilization. And I necessarily don't feel for myself that's a very good thing, being isolated isolated all the time makes my depression-like symptoms worse. And then I end up with these thoughts like, oh, it's better if I don't go to that dinner or luncheon or whatever because I'm just such a killjoy, no one wants to be around me. Or I don't want to go to that family event because I don't want to have to put on a show for everyone and act like everything's okay with my Parkinson's, because it just tires me and wears me out. I don't want to sit there and lie, but I don't want to sit there and tell them the truth either. It's easier just to isolate. And if I go to family functions, everyone wants to change their schedule to accommodate me. I don't want to be the center of attention. That's not my purpose. I want to be part of the attention, not the focus. So just a confusing reality that we all have to work through. And that's why I think it's important to be around others. One thing about Parkinson's and motivation, and I think of it, brings me back to the last few months at my last full-time job. I was involved in the garage door industry for 14 years, and of course for the last couple of years I knew I had Parkinson's, but it was something that we kept from the general public and our customers, obviously, because I was like, man, if everyone finds out, we're going to lose all our customers, and I don't want to put the business under. I loved my job. One thing in life I always wanted to do was learn a trade, and by learning the garage door industry, I learned a very niche-like trade. Like, not many people knew how to install garage doors and service them properly. Like, it was a very small percentage of the workforce out there, so obviously we were very busy. But in the last year, my job was mainly like small service calls, like remotes and transmitters and site check. So over the years, I put a lot of pride and joy into my job, and I became recognized as an expert in my field, which most of us are after 4 or 5 years. So I'm not saying I was anything special, but I went to a couple site checks, and one of them was, I walked onto the site, one of the contractors says, oh, here's the best garage door installer in our town. I'm like, wow, that struck me because it was a giant compliment, but it also like sucked the life out of me. It's like when you're holding a plastic bag over a sink and you pierce it with a knife and all the life just runs out of that plastic bag and you're just left with a wet, soggy mess. Well, that's what the compliment actually did to me, because it's like, man, I wish I could share with you that I'm not going to be around much longer. I've already made plans to leave, and this could be the last time you're going to see me. But I couldn't share that, and the compliment that they gave me, as wonderful as it was, it hurt. Like, it hurt to my core. And I was just like, I don't want to go to another site check. I don't want to go to another job site. I just want to leave right now and fade into the night and just be a memory of my industry. So it was interesting because I can't remember if this was the same day or a few days later. It was likely a few days later. I went to another job site for a customer that I'd actually known the entire 14 years I was there in the company. One of my first installations was for this man, and he did regular orders from us over those 14 years. So every year he would order like 2 to 4 garage doors off of us. For a regular customer, that's actually quite a few. The last time I saw him, he's like, man, Dave, is there something wrong with your back? Because you're just kind of moving like odd. And I'm like, I've got to at least share with somebody that I'm leaving because of my illness. So I explained to him what was going on, and I told him what was going on. I'm like, please don't tell everyone else. And he understood why I asked that, because he's like, yeah, okay, don't worry, I won't. And I'm just like, I feel I can tell you because of how our relationship has been. I feel like we've become a little bit like friends, and I did the same thing to him that those other contractors unknowingly did to me. I just pierced his plastic bag and his face just dropped, and I don't remember what I said to him, but I guess I just said, see you later, have a good life, I'm not coming back. That's probably not what I said, but when you share your troubles with people that aren't expecting it, it can be really difficult for them because they want to make you feel better. But I don't think I made him feel better at all, because I've never seen him or talked to him since. So how do you carry on? Like, how have I found ways to deal with my motivation and issue? The conversation's been going kind of dark, so I'm just going to put this warning in. The next following section may trigger you in a way I'm not anticipating, but I thought it would be fun to put this warning in. So when I think about motivation and how, not only me, but, the community around me has motivated me, I can't take all the credit for myself here, is that the best way I can describe it is that, I'm just going to go for it because of the average age I feel that might be watching this channel. I feel that a lot of us, a good percentage of us, have children. What is the advice that we give our children when their hopes and dreams fail? We redirect them to something else. Like when they don't get into that school that they've been dying to get into, or they don't make that sports team that they've been working so hard, make the tryouts for and get on the roster, or if they're on the team, get off the the bench and take a starting position. It's like, don't worry, something else will come up. If you keep working hard enough, you can turn the tide. Or if you haven't gotten into that school and your career is failing, or you've been passed over for promotion when you probably should have gotten it, we redirect them towards something else. Learn something new, try a new opportunity, look for new ways to be engaging. That is what I've tried to do. When something is taken away from me, I automatically want to go into a tailspin and not get out of bed. It's hard. Like, it's hard to go to the doctor's appointment and say, look, I need to leave here with something because these symptoms are so overwhelming me. I don't know what to do anymore. So I've got to pull something in and try and fill that void that Parkinson's has taken away from me, or I'm just going to lapse into another depression and forget how to put gas in the car again. So that is the best way that I say is learn something new, look for a new opportunity, look for something to keep you busy. My premise is that there is no purpose, there is no hope, and where there is no hope, there is no purpose. And what I mean for that is, if we've got nothing to wake up for, then we've got nothing to do. I'm a big science fiction fan, and one of my favorite television shows was the remaking of Battlestar Galactica. And I don't know if you're familiar with the story or not, but basically humanity gets wiped out by these evil machines that humanity's created, and the remnant, what's left of humanity is gathered together into these spaceships, and their goal is to go and find Earth. And the leader of the fleet's like, yes, I know the way to Earth, don't worry, we're going to get there. But he was lying through his teeth just to give the rest of the people with him some sort of false hope, something to live for, because he knew that if they didn't have at least something, then they would just be happy to lay down their arms and just let the evil machines that they created wipe the rest of them out. It would have just been easier. So I'm not saying to lie to yourself and give yourself false hope, but something to get up to and get out of bed or get off of that couch is all I can really recommend, because that's the only thing I've found that actually works. I think back to one time where I got so upset about my Parkinson's and my illness that I stopped exercising for 2 weeks, and man, I went downhill fast. Of course, the benefit from the exercise did last whatever it was, 3 to 5 days, but beyond that I just got weaker every day, and I'm like, I'm just going to end up in a puddle of bones if I don't keep going. I want to be able to do things for as long as I can, and this channel at least has given me something to do and something to live for, and the relationships that seems to be building and the people that it's bringing in, or if you're watching this channel and you're feeling that you're benefiting from it, I'm benefiting just as much from it making these videos, because even though we're not in the same room, we get to have a conversation. Like, you guys get to comment and give me feedback, and then I get to comment back and then talk to you the next time I make a video. So we're engaging in conversation, and it's very easy because we all like to isolate, so we're doing it from separate rooms. At least we're having a conversation, right? At least there's something going on that hopefully you look forward to as much as I look forward to doing this. Somebody I've met through YouTube who makes videos about his experience with Parkinson's disease recently did a video about acceptance and resignation. One of the things he said really struck me, and it's come back to me every time I thought about this video, was I get up in the morning because people expect me to, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I do as well, because if I don't get up and things don't get done, then how am I going to eat? How are the bills going to get paid? So, and you know what? The bills don't care. The bills don't care if we have Parkinson's disease or not. They just keep coming. They're a heartless little thing. They need to get paid, and if they don't, what are we going to do? Not have a roof over our head? I think this is a good time to wrap up this discussion. I think I've covered everything I've wanted to say. I think it's been a really good discussion, but now it's time for your feedback. So what do you think about my discussion? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that without hope there is no purpose, and without purpose there is no hope? Do you have a different suggestion? Do you think that when you lose part of yourself to Parkinson's, you should try to replace it with something else? Perhaps learn something new? Do you think that's a good idea? Let me know what you feel in the comments below. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting this channel. Let's take this journey together. Thank you and have a good day. Goodbye.